The PlayStation Portal has finally unlocked its real potential, and that completely changed the experience. Hello everyone, this is Technoraws. Today I have a portable device from Sony in my hands, called PlayStation Portal. I couldn't decide to buy it for a long time. I watched dozens of reviews and it felt like the pros and cons were already obvious. But after the new 4.0.0 update, which was released this year in the end of October, everything changed. So I finally decided to try it myself. And as you know, recently there was also new 6.0.0 update, and now it's even better. For me, it became one of the reasons to make a review of this device. First, when we see it and when you actually have the Portal in your hands, it's actually not small. Just look at the size of the box when you purchase it. On the front you see the Portal itself with the Astrobot game shown on the screen. In the right corner it clearly says that to use this device you have to have a PlayStation and Wi-Fi. On the back of the box it says that you can join your games installed on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, plus features like haptic feedback and adaptive triggers in supported games. Inside the box you also have a gray box, and the one you pull using the little tab with all the PlayStation button logos on it is where the Portal and the basic accessories such as the USB cable and the manual are stored. And if you didn't know, on the bottom of this box there is the small lid that seems to be designed to let you run a cable through, so you can keep the device charging while it's still inside the box. Even though I mentioned the size of the device, it still feels very comfortable in the hands. It really looks big, but at the same time it's surprisingly easy to hold. This is because the sticks and the buttons feel very close to a regular DualSense controller. The sticks here are a bit smaller in size, but they don't lose any comfort or functionality. The PlayStation button is placed on the left side next to the Create button, and it's very easy to reach since we often use it to leave a game or change settings. The Mute button is on the right side next to the Option button. Sony basically cut the DualSense in half and placed an 8-inch display between the two sides. With an 8-inch display, the Portal stands out among handheld gaming devices for its large screen. All the DualSense features such as vibration, adaptive triggers and the light bar are available here with the full customization. The touchpad is now integrated into the screen, which looks like a creative solution and is actually pretty convenient. It's not a physical pad like on the DualSense. Instead, the Portal uses two touch zones on the left and right sides of the display, and they work the same way as a regular touchpad. There is also a 3.5mm jack, which is great if you want a more immersive experience, because the built-in speakers are fine for casual use. But headphones definitely make the gameplay feel better, and if you use Pulse Elite like I do, they connect to the Portal through Sony Link, a system developed specifically for Sony devices with much lower latency than regular Bluetooth, so the audio feels more precise and responsive when you play. I already have a full review of these headphones on the channel, so you can check the link in the description. Connecting to the PlayStation 5 is quick and straightforward. The device pairs without any complications, and once you're in, the display delivers a clean 1080p image at up to 60 frames per second. The overall experience feels smooth and responsive as long as your network is stable, and if your internet isn't that fast, you can switch to 720p for a more stable gaming experience. Now let's get to the main point. Why are so many people who were disappointed with the PlayStation Portal at launch suddenly buying it again on Amazon and other platforms, making it one of the most popular handheld devices this holiday season? The answer is cloud gaming. After one of the major updates, the Portal no longer requires you to own a PlayStation 5, and you can access and stream more than 100 games directly through the cloud. For most gamers, getting a subscription isn't a problem. You simply need a PlayStation Plus Premium, which costs about $18 per month and gives you full access to cloud gaming. Keep in mind that this feature is available in around 30 countries, so support still depends on the region. The truth is, anyone who cares about FPS and smooth gameplay will prefer cloud gaming here, because the performance is noticeably more stable compared to streaming directly from your PlayStation. So why has the PlayStation Portal finally become the fully capable device everyone was waiting for? It all comes down to the recent system updates. With the major 4.0.0 update, the Portal received its first step into cloud gaming, but at the time you could only play the games games available in the PlayStation Plus Premium catalog. However, the 600 update finally allows you to stream the games you already own, and that completely changed the experience. Being able to use your own library makes the portal feel far more flexible and independent, and many of the games players actually care about finally became playable through that cloud. For me personally, the update didn't change everything dramatically, because I mostly play multiplayer heavy games such as FC26, Fortnite, Sniper Elite 5, Battlefield Red and Call of Duty Warzone. But I was genuinely happy to see Fortnite appear on the cloud list. Forza Horizon 5 also became available through the cloud, and even though I'm not the biggest racing fan, I do have a racing wheel at home, which I bought recently. So I'm planning to make a full review of this device when Forza Horizon 6 comes out. When it comes to cloud streaming, you can notice a small delay, especially in games that require precise microcontrol. For example, in FC26, whether it's Rivals or Champions, the game is playable but not in the way you would want. There's a slight input delay that can easily stop you from closing out a match. Rush mode, on the other hand, is still fine to play because the field is smaller, there are fewer players on screen, and small mistakes in ball control are acceptable. In Battlefield Red, the picture sometimes drops in quality, probably because of all the heavy visual effects happening during the action. You can also feel a clear micro delay that makes it difficult to properly aim and hit your target. Unfortunately, some games are still not available in cloud gaming at all, and you never know if they will ever be added. And yes, FC26 is also not included here. For me, that's a big deal, because after a long day, I don't always want to sit at my setup. Sometimes I just want to lie down in bed and enjoy the portal. For me personally, the library already has more than enough games, so I don't really need to rely on cloud streaming for most of the titles I play. For those who already bought the PlayStation Portal after the latest update, you may have noticed some changes in the interface. When you turn on the device, you now have 3 tabs on the screen. The first tab is for connecting the portal to your PlayStation for remote play. The second tab is for cloud streaming, where you have one section with the games you personally own that can be streamed, and another section with the games available through your subscription. On top of these 2 sections, you will also see your purchased games and the ones you played recently. They also added a search bar where you can check which games are available to play. If you want to be completely sure, you can check all the supported games on the official Sony website. Some of you may have noticed that I applied a screen protector because the screen is pretty big and easy to scratch, so for me it is a must-have. And since my hands get sweaty when I play and my fingers often slip off the sticks, I decided to get grip tapes. Out of all the options, I choose these grips because they are easy to install. You get 2 grips on the front, 2 on the back, and separate ones for the D-pad buttons and the action buttons such as square, circle, triangle, and cross. There are grip pieces for the shoulder buttons as well. You get optional stick grips for better control, and the whole set actually feels very nice to the touch. And just to be clear, this is not an ad. Nobody is paying me for this. I know because I also installed the same set on my DualSense controller. By the way, I'm working on a separate video about that, but since not everything went as planned and I could only upgrade part of it, I paused the project for now. If you're interested, support me in the comments and let me know your feedback. So in conclusion, what can I say? For $200, you get a device that lasts around 4 hours on the maximum settings, and now with the expanded cloud gaming options, I can confidently say that for any PlayStation fan, this device can be a very useful addition.